some Farsi today. This is a poem by خواجوی کرمانی, غزل or sonnet number 417. Khwajoui lived a little bit before Hafiz in 14th century, and Hafiz was influenced by Khwajoui. And interesting, this whole tradition of writing sonnets in medieval times also influenced the Europeans. People like Guillaume de Machaut, who was also a musician, a composer and a poet. He was influenced by Muslim sonnet writers and songwriters. And we know that Shakespeare was influenced by people like Guillaume de Machaut. But anyways, here we go reading this poem that's one of my favorites. It describes a night where they were partying. There was music and dancing and wine flowing and so forth. And he's just describing what a pleasant state of affairs it was that night when the music was in the air and the beautiful ones were dancing. The musicians were holding these different instruments that he describes, and how the wine was polishing his heart. A wine that had the color of rust, a rust color. Usually, it says you usually polish a mirror, because back then, the mirrors were not made of glass; they were metal. You would polish the rust away with a polish. But he says, but tonight, what was polishing my heart, making it shine so much, was a rusty colored wine. Anyway, so here we go. I don't know if I should blow it up a little bit. یاد باد آن شب که در مجلس خروش چنگ بود. مطربانرا عود بر ساز و دف اندر چنگ بود. So he's playing with the word chang. Chang means a claw, but also it means a harp, because you play the harp with your nails, with your claw in a way. But also he says they were holding oud, and they had daf, which is a tambourine, in their claws, in their hands. A chang also means, just grabbing something with your fingers. So they had the harp, oud, which is the word al-oud, the Arabic version of oud. Oud is a type of wood, but here oud is the grandfather of the lute, of the guitar. So oud, al-oud in Arabic, and then it becomes lute in European languages. شاهدان در رقص بودند و حریفان در سماع. وانکه او بر خفتگان گلبانک میزد چنگ بود. Now here the word raqs means dancing. The beautiful ones were in dance. They're flowing like particles in the air. They were flowing in dance. Now the word raqs, I believe, is an Arabic term that was brought to America with black slaves. And I think that's the root of the word rags. You look at 19th century references to ragtime. Before there was ragtime, before there was jazz, there was ragtime, and before there was ragtime, they did this thing called rags. And their music had quarter tone and so forth. So we see a lot of Middle Eastern influences in America. In fact, it was interesting, on some Christian channel today, I saw Jimmy Swaggart, because nowadays he sings a lot. He has a jazz band and he sings Christian stuff. And I was thinking, wow, he's singing the blues, which is an African imported scale that is has a quarter tone Middle Eastern roots. It's basically the Middle Eastern Phrygian, actually, with a quarter tone, or Locrian. You could think of the blues as the local. Anyways, so it's Middle Eastern, and the religion that he's purporting to have is also a Middle Eastern religion. It was kind of hilarious seeing this guy who's in search of money so badly. دستگیر خستگان جام می گلرنگ شد، مشرب آتش عذاران آب آتش رنگ بود. گوش جانم بر سماع بلبلان صبحخیز، چشم عقلم بر جمال گلرخان شنگ بود. گرچه صیقل میبرد آثار زنگ از آینه، صیقل آینه جانم می چون زنگ بود. So he's playing with the word rang, zang. Interesting. Shang, chang, tang. Okay. آن زمان کان ماه رخشان خورایین رخ نمود. He's playing with a lot of رخ خور رخ 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 رخ. He's playing with this a little bit. آن زمان کان ماه رخشان خورایین رخ نمود، باغ پر گلچهر گشت و کاخ پر اورنگ بود. Mah is the moon, Mond in German, and Rakhshan, Derakhshan means Derakhshan, shining, shimmering. Khor is short for Khurshid, the sun. Ain means religion, the path, the way of. Khorain meaning someone who worships the sun worshipper. Rukh could mean face, but it can also mean rook in chess. And the rook is a mythical, just like in chess you have elephants and horses and equestrians and so forth. Rook or rook was, and the Shah rook, a king's rook. A rook was a mythical animal bird of massive size that could swoop down and pick up elephants and run away. So it's a monstrosity of a bird, a mythical bird, which in the game of chess you have. آن زمان ماه، آن ماه, that moon. He's calling his beloved the moon, the shimmering moon, but the type of moon that was connected to the sun, because she doesn't believe in my religion. She's a sun worshiper, meaning I have fallen in love with I'm basically committing an apostasy. I've fallen in love with someone who worships the sun. Rukh Namud showed her face. At that moment, with that shimmering moon, the sun worshipping moon face showed her face, the garden in an instant became packed with blossoms and the palace filled with colors. بر من بی دل نبخشود و دلم را صید کرد، گویان در شهر دلهای پریشان تنگ بود. پیش شیرین قصه فرهاد مسکین کس نگفت، یا دل آن خسرو خوبان خلق سنگ بود. مطربان از گفته خواجو سرودی می زدند، لیکن آن گلروی را از نام خواجو ننگ بود. It's very interesting, that they showed, there's studies that show that songs that use the word Mr. DJ are actually played, at least in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Nowadays, you don't have DJs as much, but a lot of songwriters would use the word Mr. DJ because then DJs on different radio stations would actually play the music more often and it would bring more money to musicians and so. So a lot of pop musicians in the past 50 years, they would use the word DJ. That was a clever thing that they would put in there. But that is, you see that used in medieval times in Persia. A lot of times these poets mention or call upon the muttrib, the musician, the minstrels. Oh, minstrel, play this. Oh, minstrel, play that. And here it says the minstrels, the musicians, were actually playing a song by me. And he's also signing the poem. At the end of the poem, you put a line that somehow includes your name. That's your signature. So he's saying that, oh, by the way, the musicians happened to be playing a song by Khwajuh, meaning me. They had taken one of my poems. He's basically also encouraging, because these types of poetry was used to be sung. Again, just like Guillaume de Machaut and so forth. And so he says they were playing a song by Khwajuh. I was there, and they were playing one of my songs. They probably didn't even know I was there. But that beautiful woman or that beautiful person, a lot of times it's a young man. These poets were always writing about another man, another. There was a lot of gay love back then. 99% of the time, it's another young man. He says, but that beautiful flower-faced one had contempt for my name. Didn't want to even mention my name. Nang, contempt. Sang, stone. Tang, tight. Orang, colors. Zang, rust. Shang, beautiful and happy, giddy. Rang, color again, just like orang. Chang, in your fingers. All right, so maybe I'll repeat it syllable by syllable. If this is a foreign language to you, you can try to listen carefully and repeat it. Listen by syllable by syllable. Yad, bad, an, shab, ke, در مجلس خروش چنگ بود مطربان را عود بر ساز سازو دف اندر چنگ بود. So if this is if you are a second generation Iranian who's having difficulty pronouncing some vowels or some consonants or some terms, it is a good practice for you. Or if it's a foreign language to you, again, it's another practice for working out your machine and getting the rust, polishing the rust out. Your speaking machine. شاهدان در رقص بودند دو حریفان در سماع وانکه او بر خفتگان گلبانک می زد چنگ بود دستگیر خستگان جانم گلرنگ شد. مشرب آتش عذاران آب آتش رنگ بود. گوش جانم بر سماع بلبلان صبح there's a hair at the end. صبح خیز چشم عقلم بر جمال گلرخان شنگ بود. Alright, so just a little bit of practice for you. And if you're interested in more, just let me know. This is the Ganjur website, and some of the famous poems, they actually have the people reading them, multiple people, so there's multiple audio files. The words are even defined. Sometimes you can click on the words. In fact, orang, is it in color? I forget. I think something related, colorful or something. But it's good to. This one doesn't have. They have similar poems with similar rhythm. They're mentioning, but nobody has recited it. So there, and nobody has even written any comments. Oh, amazing! If this was like a Hafiz poem, there would be like a million comments by people. But and this is someone that Hafiz copied practically. All right. Okay. Well, hope this was helpful. Take care.